Here are 5 things from my childhood that traumatized me. Leading the pack at number 5, we have the Flintstone vitamins. You know, the ones that tasted like fucking chalk. If I wanted to bite a brick, I could just go outside and do it myself. If you had to eat these as a kid, you're probably immune to coronavirus now. Next up, we have the Taco Bell coin drop game, one of the biggest fucking scams in the world. I do not know a single person who won a free taco. Not only was I losing a quarter and all of my hopes and dreams, but I was also getting food that was gonna make me explosively shit. In at number 3, we have this scary fucking ghost from Courage the Cowardly Dog. I mean, just look at him. He has childhood trauma written all over him. I don't know why my parents let me watch this show because I had nightmares about him for weeks. Our runner-up at number 2 are these cheap fucking plastic scooters from gym class. The amount of times that I broke my fingers using these is unbelievable. I have battle wounds and PTSD from these death traps. Taking the top spot is the Wii Fit. Every time I stepped on this piece of shit, it would say, ow, and then proceed to tell me, a 10-year-old, that I was obese. Somebody needs to tell this girl to stop lying to us, and that's on body image issues. 5 things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 2. Kicking us off at number 5, we have Robitussin. You know, the medicine that was supposed to cure your cough but instead made you throw up? It looked like it was going to taste like cherries, but instead it tasted like straight up asshole. If you like how this tasted, you're probably in jail now. Next up, we have the Danimal sweepstakes to meet Dylan and Cole Sprouse, the second biggest fucking scam in the world. Like, did anybody actually fucking win this? These two had people chugging the shittiest drink in the world to win absolutely nothing. By popular demand at number 3, we have the scary floating head from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like, what the fuck is that? I feel it staring at me in my sleep and I wake up fucking screaming. Like, why were kids allowed to watch this show? Coming in red hot at number 2, we have him from the Powerpuff Girls. If you're looking at this, you can probably hear his creepy ass voice. Is he a lobster? Is he the devil? I'll never fucking know, but will he murder me in my sleep? Probably. And taking the top spot at number 1, we have the murder weapons known as the Razor scooters. The amount of times I've been hit in the fucking ankles by one of these things is astronomical. If you never got hit in the ankle by one of these, congratulations, you're a survivor. Here are 5 things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 3. Leading the pack at number 5, we have the shin destroyers known as the skip-its. You know, the things that you attach to your ankle, if you didn't jump, you got your shit rocked. These were legit cinder blocks attached to a rope, and I still have battle wounds from them. Like, why the fuck did we think these things were fun? Coming in at number 4 is the Easy Squirt colored ketchup. Probably the most disgusting fucking product I've ever seen. Like, who wants to dip their french fries in purple fucking ooze? This was probably made out of just chemicals and plastic. Like, no wonder it was discontinued. Coming in at number 3 is the THX sound that played before movies. You know, the one that went meow so fucking loud that your ears would bleed and you couldn't even hear yourself scream. Like, I hear this shit in my nightmares. That's how fucking loud it was. In at number 2 is the teeth molding clay from the dentist. You know, the shit that they would ask you if you wanted mint or bubblegum and it still tasted like fucking asshole? Every time I got this, they had to bring me a bowl because I would throw up everywhere, and that's on gag reflexes. Taking the top spot by popular demand is Coraline, the most fucked up children's movie I've ever seen. Like, this bitch on the right took people's eyeballs and replaced them with buttons. Like, what the fuck is... 5 things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 5. Leading the pack at number 5, we have moon shoes, the biggest fucking scams out there. They convinced us in the commercials that we would jump as high as the fucking moon, but in reality only jumped 2 inches off the ground and broke our fucking ankles, and that's on false advertising. In at number 4, we have the Cat in the Hat. Besides the fact that I'm allergic to fucking cats, this guy was a legit psychopath and destroyed everything in his path. Like, Dr. Seuss did not die for this shit. We need to call an exterminator now before I start sneezing and screaming. In at number 3, we have Tootsie Rolls. Besides the fact that they look like little pieces of shit, if I wanted to eat a piece of concrete that tasted like bleach, I could just go outside and grab a slab of the fucking sidewalk. Like, disgusting. In at number 2, we have Sandy Cheeks when she was hibernating. Like, first of all, her body different, and I will never forgive her for trying to murder SpongeBob and Patrick for this entire fucking episode. Like, look, she ripped off Patrick's fucking head. And taking the top spot is that scariest gorilla from that episode of SpongeBob where he literally beat the shit out of Sandy and Patrick. Like, I am scarred for life. Harambe would never. 5 things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 6. Leading the pack at number 5, we have the Grinch. Once again, Dr. Seuss did not fucking die for this shit. Jim Carrey should be put in jail for playing this character. Like, look at it. It looks like a walking dumpster or something that pulls you under your bed in the middle of the night. Look at his fucking fingers. If that's not nightmare fuel, I don't know what is. In at number 4, we have the Bop It. Twist it, pull it, bop it, fucking kill me. I swear this game was invented to traumatize us. When you would mess up, it would go, yow, and scare the shit out of me. Like, I would start crying. In at number 3, we have candy corn. If you like candy corn, I'm convinced you're a 40-year-old woman named Karen, or you just have shitty-ass taste buds. Like, it was like chewing on fucking plastic. I throw up in my mouth just thinking about it. Like, nasty. In at number 2, we have Darla, the mass murderer from Finding Nemo. This bitch killed every single fucking fish she touched. Like, bitch, can't you read? It said, don't knock on the glass, and you rocked that shit. Also, what's on your mouth? Isn't your dad a dentist? Get that shit fixed. And taking the top spot is the Alaskan bullworm from SpongeBob. Like, first, what that mouth do, but also this thing ate every single part of Bikini Bottom, including that man's ass. Like, bitch, what the fuck? 5 things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 7. Leading the pack at number 5, we have Uno Attack. This game was literally created by Satan himself and is basically the little kid version of Russian roulette. Will I get shot or will I live to see another day? Who fucking knows, but it's probably why we all have fucking anxiety now. And if you ever hit me with a draw 4 when we were little, you're a bitch for that. In at number 4, we have wood chips. You know, those stupid fucking things that they put on playgrounds that smelled like legit cow shit? If you fell on these, it was like falling on 100,000 little fucking needles. And don't even get me started of when they got stuck in your fucking shoe. Next up, we have the movie Shark Tale. This was a subpar movie at best, but can we please talk about how all the fish had their fucking actors' faces on them? Like, if that's not fucking creepy, I do not know what is. And these 2 jellyfish over here in the corner still haunt my dreams to this fucking day. In at number 2 is the Scary Maze Game Girl. I thought I was playing an innocent fucking game until I hit the wall and then bloop, this bitch popped up, screamed at me, and I shit my pants. Also, doesn't she look like Miley Cyrus? Taking the top spot is Doodle Bob. This Mahoy piece of shit literally tried to kill SpongeBob with a Ticonderoga pencil, and that's why I use pens.
Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 8. Leading the pack, we have the Kool-Aid Man. I literally don't understand how people weren't scared of him. Like, I had legit fucking nightmares about this big bowl of sugar bashing through my wall and screaming, "Oh yeah," while I sat and fucking cried. Like, sir, oh no, fix my wall and leave before I call the police. Next up, we have the Fushigi Ball, the biggest scam in the world. The commercial would lie and scream at us and tell us we would have so much fun defying gravity with this magic piece of fucking plastic. I had more fun with a ball of tinfoil, and all I got from this was a ton of disappointment and a few broken toes because I couldn't fucking hold it. And taking the top spot, we have a 2-for-1 special, the ShamWow and the ShamWow guy. First of all, I know crack when I see it. This guy was losing his fucking marbles over a piece of cloth like paper towels didn't exist. Second of all, the ShamWow is a literal piece of trash. Like, if you dip that shit in water, it was wet forever. There was no reusing it. All it's good for is wiping up their fucking lies.
Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 9. Leading the pack, we have Furbies. I swear these were created by Satan himself because whenever you looked away, they would move, blink, or jump and try and fucking kill you. I swear they were worse than the Chucky doll, and if you didn't have one, consider yourself fucking lucky. Like, I see them in my nightmares and I wake up fucking screaming. Next up, we have this plastic fucking death trap, the Little Tykes toy car. The amount of times that I broke my fucking toes trying to walk in this thing is astronomical. I have PTSD from the time that I flipped over and bashed my face on the concrete. Like, no wonder my parents sent me to driver's ed. And last up, we have the hash-slinging slasher. Like, yes, this guy was fucking nightmare fuel when we were little. Like, I have chills from when he scraped his spatula on the door, and I was afraid he was gonna come into my room in the middle of the night and murder me. But in reality, what could he have really done to us? Flipped us over on a grill, spanked us a few times, and cooked us to well done. Also, did anybody else think his nostrils were his eyes? Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 10. Leading the pack, we have Chuck E. Cheese, the place, and these creepy fucking characters. The place smelled like vomit and baby shit, the pizza was made out of legit cardboard, and all of those fucking games were the biggest fucking scams I've ever encountered. And don't even get me started on the shitty ass prizes. As for these psycho killers in the picture, I have fucking nightmares where they chase me and I scream. Especially this hairy purple guy above me. Next up, we have the Disney Channel games, one of the biggest letdowns of my entire childhood. They had so many fucking commercials for this special for only one episode to air, and it was at 1 a.m. I literally just wanted to see Zach and Cody rock Hannah Montana shit with a soccer ball, but that never happened. And last up, we have this scary fuck Nosferatu from the hash-slinging slasher episode of SpongeBob. Sir, I think you need to get your eyebrows done, and with those fucking ears, I bet you could hear a butterfly fart. Not only does this guy just scare the shit out of me, but his flickering of the lights is probably why I'm afraid of the dark. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 11. Leading the pack, we have Zoo Books. Now, I never actually owned a Zoo Book, but I vividly remember watching the commercial every 2 fucking seconds, and I can hear it in my fucking nightmares. Also, I don't know if anybody else remembers this, but the commercials legit showed animals attacking each other. Like, what kid needs to see that? Next up, we have Moon Sand, the sand that you can mold. This pack of bullshit is one of the biggest fucking scams I have ever seen. Once you took the sand out of the package, it dried up instantly, so what was the fucking point? Not only that, but the commercials were the biggest fucking lie, telling us that we could build these big-ass sandcastles when the sand crumbled in my fucking hand. And taking the top spot, we have these old-school projectors that you probably used in elementary school all the way up to high school. We really sat in classrooms and let teachers use these Wally-looking ass projectors like they were some technological innovation. It's the smudgy handwriting for me. It's the blinding fucking light for me. It's the I can't see from the back of the room for me. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 12. Leading the pack, we have these death traps known as the waveboards. I physically could not get on these fucking things, but when I did, I would be on it for 2 seconds and I would fall and bash my face on the concrete. I shed blood and tears on these and I still have nightmares about them. Next up, we have this baby spider doll from Toy Story. Like, bitch, this shit was so fucking creepy. Like, who thought this was okay to put in a children's movie? When it came on the screen, I started hysterical crying and they literally tried to kill my man Buzz. Coming in hot at number 3, we have the game of perfection. This is probably the reason why I have so much fucking anxiety now. When the pieces wouldn't fit, I would freak the fuck out and scream. When the timer was up and these shits popped in my face, I nearly had a heart attack at the age of 5. In at number 2, we have Happy Tree Friends. If you understand why this is on the list, then you know the trauma I went through as a child. I don't understand whose idea was to do these fucked up things to these cute little animals, but I am scarred for fucking life. And taking the top spot, we have the game of Operation. This is the reason why I decided to not become a fucking doctor. I literally could never get the wishbone out, and when the buzzer went off, I literally shit my pants. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 13. Leading the pack, we have this fucking death trap known as the green machine. This is probably the reason why some of you don't know how to drive. It was all fun and games until you whipped it around a corner, hit a rock, and fell and bashed your fucking face on the concrete. If you didn't have one of these, consider yourself lucky. In at number 4, we have this monstrosity of a show, Lazy Town. First of all, why were 3 of them human and the rest puppets? What was up with the sexual tension between the pink girl and the blue guy? And also, why did we let children watch this fucking show? Next up, we have the game Hungry Hungry Hippos. Not only did this game trigger my anxiety, but I nearly broke my hand and all of my fingers trying to win. Was it worth it? Yes. Did I win? No. In at number 2, we have Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka. Not Willy Wonka TikTok, the one you're all simping over, Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka. Tell me that does not look like the face of a serial killer. Let's call it what it is. The movie lied to us, those kids definitely did not escape, and it does not sit well with me. And taking the top spot is the horror film Chicken Run. Not only do I have nightmares about these chickens staring at me and kidnapping me and I wake up fucking screaming, but who thought it was a good idea to make a movie about chickens that looked like this? Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 15. Leading the pack, we have the YouTube video Muffins. I saw this man in my fucking nightmares every single day of my childhood. When he brought up the glass muffin, I screamed until I fainted because of the blood. I cannot look at muffins the same way anymore. In at number 4, we have the board game Sorry. This game truly showed me that a lot of you are liars, cheaters, and backstabbers. I'm looking at you, Mom. A lot of you had the audacity to send me back to start when I was about to get in the fucking safety zone, and I'm still mad about it. Next up, we have these scary fucking Elf on the Shelf dolls. I'm convinced that when we aren't looking, they move. I was afraid every single night of the holidays that I was gonna wake up to one of these standing over me and they would Chucky my ass. In at number 2, we have these death traps known as the metal slides on playgrounds. That is not the sun glistening on them, that is fire. When you went down these, not only did you burn off all your fucking flesh, but you landed flat on your back. Why the fuck did we think these were fun? And taking the top spot, we have Charlie the Unicorn. They did my man so dirty. They took him to Candy Mountain, left him to die, and stole his kidneys. Trauma. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 16. Leading the pack, we have that fake chewing gum that shocked people. This is the reason why I don't trust some of you fuckers and the reason why I don't chew gum. I thought I was getting a nice piece of gum to chew, but instead I got the electric chair. If you use this on people, you belong in jail. Next up, we have the death traps known as the monkey bars, specifically this shitty ass setup. How are we supposed to get up those dainty little ladders and then climb across? You never win with monkey bars. You either burn your fucking hands off or you plummet to your death. There is no in between. In at number 3, we have the reason why some of you don't know how to boil pasta water, the Easy Bake Oven. I'm convinced if you had one of these as a child, you still don't know how to fucking cook. Anything that came out of this was not edible and gave you food poisoning. I don't know who told us that this was fun. Next up, we have a bathroom for children, also known as the McDonald's play place. If you don't think children went on the slide and shat themselves after eating a 10-piece chicken nugget, you're sadly mistaken. And taking the top spot, we have these psychopaths known as the Teletubbies. I see these things in my nightmares and I wake up fucking screaming. What the fuck even are they? Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 17. Leading the pack, we have Satan herself, the La La Loopsy doll. Every time I saw a commercial for this devil doll, I had fucking nightmares. If you enjoyed playing with these, you have psychological problems and need help. Next up, we have the rainbow parachute that everyone used in gym class. I do not understand why these were fucking fun. I thought I was going to be dragged underneath and never seen again. What did we learn from these and what was the point? In at number 3, we have my anxiety. Oops, I mean those multiplication sheets our teachers made us race each other in every single year. If you ask me to describe my panic attacks, this is it. I never wrote down the correct answers, I just wanted to be first. Next up, we have the board game Trouble. If you wanted to find out who your fake friends were, play this with them. I didn't understand how people could pop fucking 6s every time and I could only pop a 1. If you're good at this game, you're probably a liar, cheater, and a backstabber. And taking the top spot, we have Wii Sports. This was Nintendo's subtle way of telling us all we were fat. For every single game, you didn't have to move. And why did we all only play bowling? Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 18. Leading the pack, we have these fucking death traps known as the hoverboards. I picked the red one because these were created by the devil himself. I could not fucking stand on these things, and if I did, I would fall off and shit whip my head on the concrete. Not only that, but they fucking explode. Next up, we have car seatbelts on a hot day. These were the worst fucking pain during the summer. When I touched these, I would scream, cry, and burn off majority of my flesh. Now I know what it's like to be branded. In at number 3, we have Legos. I would rather chop off my whole fucking foot than step on one of these again. The pain I felt when I pinched my hands with these is unmatched. I don't know who said these were safe for kids because they are not, and I sometimes tried to eat them. Next up, we have the reason why I'm broke. Monopoly. I did not know that you had to spend money to win the game. Not only that, but this game took a fucking year to play, and if you were the banker, you are a fucking cheater and stealing everybody's money. Says a lot about the world. And taking the top spot, we have foam pits. You would jump in these things, they would swallow you up, and you would fucking drown. I'm convinced that there are kids still in these who have not been found. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 19. Leading the pack, we have the murder weapon known as the red rubber kickball from gym class. I have PTSD from being smashed in the face by one of these fuckers. The amount of concussions I've gotten from them is astronomical. I can still hear the pinging noise from hitting concrete or my skull in my nightmares, and I wake up screaming. Next up, we have the biggest fucking scam in the world, the Tower of Power from Chuck E. Cheese. This shit was rigged. It has stolen all of my money and my hopes and dreams. We thought we were gonna hit the jackpot every single time, but that was a fucking lie. This is why I have trust issues. At number 3, we have the punishment of being told to put our head down in class. I would put my head into my arms and start fucking sobbing. To make the trauma even worse, the teachers would turn the fucking lights off. Next up, we have the cherry sore throat spray. This did not taste like cherries, it tasted like straight up asshole. I would rather gargle nails than have to shoot this shit down my throat ever again. And returning to take the top spot, we have the Flintstone vitamins, the ones that tasted like fucking chalk. If I wanted to bite into concrete and break all my fucking teeth, I could have gone outside and done it myself. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 20. Leading the pack, we have getting your head stuck in between a railing. If you say this never happened to you, you're fucking lying. We all looked at railings and thought our heads could fit in between them, and we were wrong. At the ripe age of 10, I really thought my life was over. In at number 4, we have a 2-for-1 special, the Easter Bunny and the Santa Claus that they had at the mall. Not only were their outfits fucking scary, but nothing got me into the holiday spirit more than waiting online, screaming and crying just to get a picture with these two. And if you don't think they were convicted felons, you're lying to yourself. Next up, we have Rah Rah Rasputin from Just Dance. If you were good at this dance, you've probably buried a body. Nothing hurt my knees more than having to drop it low in this fucking dance. Like, who the fuck did I think I was? In at number 2, we have calling your teacher mom. This one literally makes no fucking sense, but I promise you I was the most embarrassed I've ever been in my life. Returning at the top spot, we have the THX sound that played before movies. You know, the one that went meow? That shit was so fucking loud it made my ears bleed and you couldn't even hear me fucking scream. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 21. Leading the pack, we have the blue books from hell, the examination books we had to use in high school. My hand is fucking cramping just looking at these things. When I would walk into a classroom and see one of these on my desk, I would have an anxiety attack, shit my pants, and start crying all in one. Whoever invented these belongs in jail. Next up, we have Russian roulette for kids, and the reason I have bad anxiety, Uno attack. Imagine being a little kid, having this thing turned on you, and having to worry about if you're gonna get your shit fucking rocked. No thanks. Then we have hydrogen peroxide. When my parents would pour this shit on an open cut, I felt like my body was fucking burning. Honestly, cut my finger off instead. I don't want it. Then we have Satan's Playground, the sky tubes from Chuck E. Cheese. Not only was I a claustrophobic fucking mess in these things, but you always had to worry about if you were gonna stick your hand in shit. Disgusting. And taking the top spot, we have the Fitness Gram Pacer test. Like the headline says, this shit was child cruelty. I am convinced this is what people have to do before they enter the gates of hell. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 22. Leading the pack, we have the Shin Destroyer known as the Skip It. You know, the thing that you had to put on your ankle and try and jump over, but instead you ended up bashing your fucking shins in? Yeah, that one. Not only did this fucking thing break my ankles and cause me trauma, but the amount of scars and bruises that I still have from it is astronomical. Next up, we have the reason that I am claustrophobic and don't wear rings, the Chinese finger traps. I never knew what a panic attack was until I put one of these on and couldn't get it fucking off. Not only did I try to break it open, but I also broke my fingers in the process. Then we have when a a teacher would call on you when your hand was not fucking raised. Not only is this where my fear of public humiliation started, but this is also why I have trust issues. Teachers can choke. Next up, we have the murder weapon known as the Razor Scooter. The amount of time I bashed myself in the ankles with this fucker is unbelievable. If we had an apocalypse, this would be my weapon of choice. And taking the top spot, we have baby swings at parks. Yes, I've gotten stuck in one of these, but I've witnessed multiple people have to get cut out of them. Trauma. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 23. Leading the pack, we have Wendy Williams. Oops, I mean Slender Man. I convinced myself at a very young age that this fucking beast would come in the middle of the night and take me away. He is the reason that I am afraid of forests and the reason that I wake up in the middle of the night fucking screaming. Next up, we have Pete Davidson. Oops, I mean Salad Fingers. First of all, what the fuck is he? Second of all, his fingers and his voice creep me the fuck out. If you ever found him funny, you belong in federal fucking prison. I would rather light myself on fire than watch him again. Then we have that island game from gym class where you had to use gym equipment to get to the other side. First of all, no entire class ever made it to the other side. We're all too fucking selfish. Second of all, this is the reason I have trust issues and abandonment issues, because either people would push me off or leave me at the beginning. Next up, we have the cinnamon challenge. I don't know who told us to try this or told us that it was fun, because they fucking lied. At the mere age of 10, I almost choked to death. And lastly, we have the scary ghost car commercial from YouTube. This shit launched me out of my fucking chair and scarred me for life. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 24. Leading the pack, we have literal hell on wheels. The fucking death traps known as the plastic scooters from gym class. These scooters woke up every day and chose amputation of all my fingers. The amount of times that I've broken my fingers in these, I feel like I should be entitled to financial compensation. Then we have the Bunsen burner from middle school and high school. If you're wondering why I have nice eyebrows now, this is why. Who thought it was a good idea to give little kids fire? And do not tell us that the double blue cone is the hottest flame and not expect us to touch it, idiot. Oh, these. The reused pennies from gym class. These started COVID, and swine flu, and ringworm. If I could smell a picture, it would be this one. Next, we have the sit and reach, another way for school to make me feel inadequate. Some of you could push the ruler all the way to the end of the box. I couldn't even touch the box. I could do the sit part, not the reach part. And lastly, the reason that my ankles click, moon shoes. First of all, you only jumped like 2 feet off the ground and broke your fucking ankles on the way down. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 25. Leading the pack, we have the desks that we used in elementary, middle, and high school. If I could hear a picture, it would be this one. Every time I pushed one of these things, my ears would fucking bleed. Not only that, but I couldn't fit my fat ass into the one that had the seat and the desk attached. Next up, we have the Canker sisters from Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I had nightmares where these 3 girls would beat the shit out of me. If you weren't scared of them, you're probably a psychopath. They haunt me to this day. And we have the entire hash-slinging slasher episode of SpongeBob, especially Nosferatu. Like, what the fuck is that? Why are you showing this to little kids? This moment has scarred me for life. I nearly shit my pants. Then we have Willy Wonka and his Oompa Loompas, nightmare fuel at its finest. These are my sleep paralysis demons. All of them. I truly do not know happiness because of Willy Wonka. And lastly, we have the fucking Ouija board. If you thought these were fun, you can die, respectfully. Convinced I was possessed. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 26. Starting off the trauma, we have the game Hungry Hungry Hippos. If you played this game as a child, you now have anxiety. And you might be missing a finger. The speed at which I would hit my hippo to eat the fucking balls was astronomical. And I still fucking lost. Pain and disappointment. Next up, we have Lazy Town. I truly don't think kids should have been able to watch this show. The friendship between the creepy blue guy and the pink little girl was very creepy. It actually reminds me of some TikTok influencers. Also, why the fuck were the rest of the characters creepy puppets? Then we have the McDonald's play places. I am convinced this is where coronavirus was incubated and spread. If I could smell a picture, it would be this one, and it smells like a little kid's shit. Next, we have Elmo behind the scenes from YouTube. I don't know if anybody else remembers this, but this shit traumatized me. Elmo was a fucking monster. And lastly, we have this creepy ghost dude from Courage the Cowardly Dog. What the fuck was this? He gave me nightmares and I woke up fucking screaming. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 27. First up, we have Tamagotchis. I'm gonna say it, these things were fucking annoying. I'm pretty sure I killed every single one that I had. If we can't take care of these, what makes us think that we can take care of dogs or children? Spoiler alert, we fucking can. Next up, we have water shoes. I know these were supposed to protect us, but for some reason, they just did not sit right with me. I would fucking scream when my parents made me put these on. I don't know why, I just did not fucking like them. Then we have slip and slides. Yes, they're all fun and games until it gets really hot and you burn off your fucking flesh on the rubber. Or if you go so fast that you bash your face on the fucking lawn. I have literal battle scars from slip and slide. Then we have Chuck E. Cheese himself, the devil reincarnated, Satan's fucking spawn. This man is a fucking psychopath. And lastly, we have the Wii Fit board. This monstrosity humbled me, and it humbled me early. It told me, a 10-year-old, that I was obese. Things from my childhood that traumatized me, part 28. Starting us off, we have when McDonald's made the barbaric decision to get rid of snack wraps. I don't know how old I was, but I was fucking traumatized. These were my favorite menu items, so naturally, they got rid of them. Bring them back. Next up, we have Legos. Stepping on these is the equivalent to being hit by a car. You have never felt true pain until you have stepped on one of these barefoot. And for some reason, I always wanted to eat them, probably because they were colorful. Then we have the Windows Media Player. The reason why I am almost, if not legally blind. I would stare at this shit for hours and burn the fuck out of my eyes. I was just watching these little things fucking move around, not even a video. Next up, we have the psychopaths known as the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic band. I am convinced there were killers dressed up inside of these. Nightmare fuel at its fucking finest. And lastly, we have when Jersey Shore did the spoof of Twilight. I wake up in the middle of the night fucking screaming thinking about this. Here are some things from my childhood that traumatized me. First up, we have these creepy little troll dolls. I swear to fucking God, these things were alive. Everywhere I moved, they stared at me. I was so scared of them that I would pick them up and punt them. Creepy little fucks. Next up, we have these little stringy bracelets. If you made and sold these when you were younger, you are 100% in a pyramid scheme. No questions asked. These were the biggest fucking scams in the world. They're the easiest thing to do. Some of you little ass kids would sell them for $10. You pieces of shit. Then we have the New York State English Language Arts Test, also known as the ELAs. Conveniently, this one was on the same week as my birthday. I hate reading. I hate books. This entire booklet made me fucking cry. Just the sight of this book makes me want to throw up. And lastly, we have Beyblade. Never watched the show, but for some reason I had these. Bruises, cuts, and fucking scars on my hands are astronomical. I didn't know how to shoot them, so I'd slice my hand instead. And if you had the little ring, I hate you.